Muted.
Good morning, everyone. This is Seychelle Van Poole here on behalf of the North Texas, New Mexico, and Memphis, Tennessee, Keller Williams region. And we are hosting our Millionaire Mindset call today. And we are very fortunate to have a special guest here with us today. We have Diane Kink, who is a mega agent with a great team out of the Houston, Woodlands, Magnolia area. And Diane, welcome. We're so happy to have you with us here today.
Thank you. So happy to be on the call.
And Diane, for those of you that may not know, Diane is actually joining us from Europe. She is in Paris today. So I think we all as a region should just go visit her in Paris for this call and do an in-person mastermind. What do you guys think?
I love that. Come on. It's so fun.
Yes. So thank you for dialing in.
You're so welcome. Absolutely.
You're so welcome. Well, Diane joins us here. So she and her husband Bruce have two offices that they own in the Houston area. They own the KW Houston Metropolitan office and also the Woodlands and Magnolia offices. So if you ever have referrals that you need help with down in Houston, please make sure you keep them in mind. And just to give you a little background on Diane, and she's going to go into a lot here with us today. Diane Kink is the CEO of the Kink team out of the Woodlands. She's the #1 luxury realtor in the Woodlands. So talk about someone who understands the luxury market, understands how to build a team, and understands how to dominate regardless of what type of market it is in the luxury sector. We can really learn a lot from her today. She's also in the top 1% of all of Keller Williams worldwide. She has taught classes with KW and is also a math coaching client. And as she recently was featured on panels for the Leaders in Luxury group and also with family reunion panels and talking about the luxury market as well. And just to show you a little bit about Diane's team, her son Parker also works with them, which we'll talk about in a minute. But Diane has a great team to have a lot of fun. So Diane, I'm going to let us kick off this morning. We're so thankful that you're on with us. And just so you know, the majority of the producers on this call are 8 million and up. So the questions that they're going to be asking, a lot will be people that are in the middle of building teams or in the middle of working through luxury markets and may have questions. So for anybody that's on the side panels, if you have questions, type it into your chat box on the right-hand side of your screen. And as we're going through the call, we'll make sure we try to address those questions for you as we're going. So Diane, talk to us a little bit about your team. Tell us what you guys are all about.
Well, super. I want to mention I started 18 years ago, and I've only been with Keller Williams, so I feel like I'm a born and raised Kellerite. And,
yes.
You know, I was there in Gary's mastermind group when we didn't know it, but we were writing the first MREA book. And since then, we've been working to just follow that MREA book as we have built a team. You know, your first assistant, your first buyer agent, and building from there. The answers are in that book to start with initially. Over time, yeah. And now we're a team of 11, and we've gone through some changes and some hiccups, and there's been a lot of growth in the last 6 months to a year that I'll get into more deeply on this call.
Sure.
And
talk to us about what your team looks like right now.
Currently, we have, I'm the lead listing agent for luxury. I have a luxury liaison that I hired Candy 2 years ago to join me to help me in luxury because I was so heavy luxury and with all the accompanying too much. So Candy is my go-to and my right hand in luxury.
Okay.
My son Parker joined us just last 1st of July of last year. He had his license for 7 years, worked a bit with Tim Heil in Austin and moved back to the Woodlands with his new wife. And he's helping really running the team, running the sales side of the team, holding the sales agents accountable as he's also learning and growing, doing some buyer and some listing appointments himself. So we're kind of in infancy on Parker. We've got 4 other agents. 2 are primarily buyer agents and 2 are listing and buyer agents. And we're growing.
Okay.
This year we'll add at least 2 more buyer agents. That's on the sales side. On the the staff side, I've got two women that are amazing in my listing department. We separate them in our listing department from luxury to, we call it everyday business in the office. And for us, it's maybe 750 and below. So Rika handles most of the business or all the business in 750 and below. And Lisa handles our more luxury clientele. And it's really because of a personality, you know, and how they deal with clients, and they work really well in their respective price categories.
Got it.
And then we have a closing coordinator who's been with me for years and also licensed. I didn't mention my listing coordinators are licensed. And she really does all the work from contract to close. She has an assistant that works with her, especially this time of year when we're doing a lot of closings and a lot of contract to close. She'll need additional hands on. That Sally is her name, and she also does our lead coordination and controls first impressions as far as answering the phone.
Got it.
So kind of lean and mean right now for us.
What was that last part, Laura? Or what was that last part, Diane?
Yeah, we're kind of lean and mean as far as, you know, with what we're doing, producing, and our staff, you know, working through all those files.
Well, and, you know, so talk to us about why that's important for you. And I'm going to bring your org chart up here on the screen as well for everybody to be able to see. So talk to us about why being lean and mean is important to you. What's happened in your market, you know, in the last couple of years that's caused you to look at your business the way you are right now?
Yeah, I get my numbers to look at the numbers might be because that will bring us up to what really happened to me, and I guess it could happen to any of us, is, you know, you're going along, businesses is just on up every year. I was on an upstream. Every year my sales were higher, my GCI was higher, and my top of the market year for me was 2013. Okay, there you can see some numbers. Yeah, 2013 was.
Go ahead, Diane. Sorry.
Yes, I'm sorry. So 2013 for the Kink team was just a great year. You know, it was our highest GCI. We had more units than we've had, and we're going to beat that this year. And that was our best GCI year, which, you know, I know I gauge our business off of GCI instead of units and volume. And 2014, we're trucking along. Our goal was 200 units. Our goal was 100 million, or maybe it was even higher. I thought we're going to hit it. Second quarter of 2014 in Houston is when the oil started dumping, prices were falling, and I felt it the last quarter of 14. And you can see in my numbers from 15 and 16, really, that's one thing that happened to me was market driven and energy and oil driven. But also because I've spent 12 years really working to get into luxury and build it and get and kind of work to master it, we got so good. We were sitting with 40 to 50 listings that were luxury in a downward spiraling market where million and above wasn't selling. And you know,
so, I mean, to put this in perspective, so in 2013 you had just shy of $2.5 million in gross commissions earned, and then you dropped over $1 million, but yet you still sold almost $90 million worth of sales. So
ouch.
What is, ouch is right.
Yeah.
What did that feel like? How many homes did you have on the market, and what did your listing inventory look like when that market shifted?
We had, Seychelle, I think I had 45 above 1 million. It was at least 40 to 45. And our market, you know, as early as 2007 or 8, we didn't even have $1 million home in the Woodlands, basically. It was, so the numbers have driven up. And then to have the days on market and the quantity of listings available, where the buyers just could choose anything. And we were having to, you can see, we had to reduce commissions just to get something to a table, to get to closing. We're working with builders too, and working on commissions just to get them to closing. I mean, it was tough start.
So you go into this, your market's kind of free falling, gas and oil prices are going down just about the same time the housing market's going down in the luxury sector. What do you do?
Well, while this is happening, I was encouraging my then team to lead generate, get on the phone. I felt like I was begging them, and my story is going to be as the call goes on, I had the wrong people on the bus, of course, because I could not get them to lead generate, call past clients, pick up the phone, period. So a lot of stress was on me to create, just to keep the doors open, not really that drastic, but it felt like that at the time. And I had clients that were out of the country that had these listings sitting on the ground. I had clients that were in Canada. And to be able to explain the downward spiraling market, instead of doing, black and white CMAs and emailing or discussing over the phone, I hired a young guy that's still working for me. He's not as young. And he started tracking the numbers of the Woodlands and just the Woodlands proper. And I had him start 100 to 200,000, 2 to 3, 3 to 4, up to $1 million. So we have 100,000 increments. And then we went to 1 million to 1.5, 1.5 to 2, 2 to 2.5, and 2.5 and above. So that showed over months of time. And now I've got the trajectory from 2013. And I pay I do pay $1,000 a month to keep this up, because it's data that costs a lot of money, yet it has helped me so much to be able to teach people, whether they're in front of me or if they're across the world from me, to be able to explain our little micro market of the Woodlands and why the inventory is 2.5 years on market, and why we only had one contract written in the month of July, in the heat of the summer, between 2 and 3 million, those kind of things. And so it forced me to get, to try to figure out how can I communicate this changing market to clients. And that's the woodlandsmarketreport.com was created. And
so I think that this is really amazing what you did. So you went out, basically created a website that was a lead capture. And you also really wanted this information so that you could become the economist of choice, what I'm hearing, right, for your sellers, to be able to educate them for predictions, for pricing properly. And so with this huge inventory of homes on the market, you had to get super savvy on how you were going to get your pricing right and your prices down to a point where the buyers would buy off and purchase them, right?
That's right.
So,
and I've used it for listings.
Yeah, exactly. Go ahead into what you've done with it since then.
Yeah, so since then, so it's, we tag it in our emails constantly, and we have it on our website, of course, and it feels like a membership, if you will. We call it the Kink Team Insider. So if you want some inside information, sign up. We've got 15,000 people in our database after 18 years in the business, and we'll reach out to them and have you heard, and we'll put it in print. Go to the 2016 market report of the Woodlands at thisaddress.com, and we're getting people to sign up. But I'll tell you what was most interesting. This happened to me in the last couple months. A buyer from the Netherlands was not my buyer, was looking with his agent from Houston at 2 of my listings that were luxury and one other. They had me meet him at a hotel, and they got me into a conference room, and I'll be darned if this man didn't pull out of his briefcase what looked like a really thick stack of paper. It was the woodlandsmarketreport.com printed. And I was floored because he said, "Diane, thank you so much for educating me on this market." And his agent looked at me like, "Uh-oh, I guess I didn't do a good job." And I was floored because guess what I did? I completely educated this foreigner to what was selling and not selling and the days on market. And so I thought that was really interesting. So even, competitors, clients have found it.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's pretty amazing. So not only is it bringing you clients, but it's actually helping you sell your listings to other buyers that may not even be yours.
Yeah. The hardest thing to tell any seller is why is my house not selling? And if it's truly market driven, if it's not, price, well, it's always price, but if it's not the presentation, the location, if they're both good, then it's got to be price. And so I've been able to use this tool to say, do you want to fall into this category? Because here's your competition and here's the trajectory. You can maybe wait a year or 6 months or 2 years, but right now we're still in this. So I keep it up now monthly. And so it's an active, ongoing report.
That's a great value add that you can give to your clients and create a membership that people want to keep coming back to get educated on the market. So one question we're getting, and this comes from Brent Dowley, is what's your number one prospecting source to get luxury listings? And then a second question on that is what is, if you're going to market a luxury listing, what is the most important thing that you can do in marketing a luxury listing? Okay, great questions, you guys.
A lot of it is being there and being present. So we're members of the country clubs, both Candy and I at different clubs, and we're present. We give a lot in community. We attend all the functions, and so we're there. So we may not get the actual job opportunity right at the function, but we're in definitely full mind. Another thing we do that seems to really be working is we're doing a lot of video, YouTube and things like that, and that will just put you on the high search engines to people will notice you. I had a 10-acre property outside the Woodlands call, and it was simply because they found us online. They knew our reputation. Over time, it's reputation and doing the right thing and things like that. We toot our horn as much as we can when we do have a success, whether it be a new listing or a recently sold, whether we're representing the buyer or the seller. And that old-fashioned way of doing business is getting the phone to ring. I got your card in the mail. I see you sold my neighbor down the road. We don't want to sell now, but we want to know, how's the market? And now that gets me in the door.
Now you've got. So the four things I'm hearing from you are be where the people are, whether it's at the country club, volunteering for nonprofits, be where they are. Use video, number 2. Number 3, your reputation will take you farther than anything else can, or kill you faster than anything else can. And number 4 is don't be afraid to brag, right? Don't be afraid to be proud of what you did and get it out there. And funny enough, direct mail, who everyone says is dead, seems to be working really well in this luxury market. Would you agree with those 4 things?
I would agree. I'll add a 5th. I see you have on the screen the Grand Colonial. You've got to look really good online. Your presentation of your product, the luxury home. If you can get that first luxury home, which I started with one, and I put as much money as I could into that one home, and I wanted our marketing online and in print to be better than all my competition, because that's where your future listings are coming. They're going to look at you online and look at how those homes look online. They want to be beautiful presented. So I think that's number 5, really important. Hire the best photographer, hire the best video photographer, and be unique to what everyone else is doing.
Got it. That's great feedback. So when you look at that, let's talk about really quick on number 5, right? Look really great, be a differentiator. So now you've got these 5 different ways to get people in the door from a prospecting standpoint. Now when it comes to how you're marketing your listings, talk to us about what you can do differently with luxury, or what you do out of the box to be unique in this luxury market that helps your sellers get results.
I study what others have done across the nation. I'm a member of the Leaders in Luxury group, and I study different luxury agents. Quite frankly, may not be Keller Williams. I love Jack Cotton, for example. Just watching what he does, and you can completely learn from him on the East Coast. But Grand Colonial, for instance, it's an anomaly. Sitting in the Woodlands, Texas, it's almost 5 acres. It does not photograph well. The beautiful shot you're seeing now was my second photographer that I decided at Family Reunion to hire this group out of San Antonio. So I had to pay trip fees and hotel fees and the whole bit. It was a $10,000 2-day trip for them. But it was important for me to have an amazing look online. I did not like how we looked online with their property. We still have not uploaded. We're just getting these back this week. And we did an interview. My seller is from Italy, and the husband and wife, and the wife decided that she would allow me to interview her in her beautiful language, and talking in English, but beautiful dialect. That's not done yet. It'll probably be done while I'm here in Paris, and we'll make it live next week. That uniqueness, be different, make it short, make it unique. This home's unique. Why do you love this home? What brings passion? And to hear her talk about it gets a tear in your eye. You've got to be different like that. Even if it's $1 million home and it doesn't have a $7 or $8 million tag behind it, you can still do something unique, with your seller, and you'll stand out, and the seller will be so proud that they're working with you because no one else is doing that in your market.
And you have always been a leader in your market. And one thing that we've talked about on and off that I think is a real theater that I'd love for you to expand on is your luxury concierge. Can you tell us a little bit about that and what you're doing with it? Because I just think it is so cool.
Absolutely. If you can pull the picture of Candy and Lisa and I up. What we're now doing is when we have a luxury listing appointment, all three of us, when possible, will go on the appointment. Some of my competition is doing this now, but come in with power, with knowledge, and dress the part, of course. But I explained that I'm the lead. I'm your listing agent. Candy is my liaison that will be here. One of us will be here, most likely Candy, when we have any showings from any buyers. So we're going to accompany the showing, and we're going to walk through, and we're going to sell your house and all the features and the benefits because we're going to learn those and know those. And Lisa is introduced. Lisa gives us leverage. Lisa's in the office from 8 to 5 or 8 to 6 daily. Lisa will become your best friend. Lisa will really talk to them a whole lot more than I will, as we all know, right? So I want to introduce Lisa at the beginning as well. She's sweet, kind, loving, and they get to know her from the very beginning because she'll walk the property and get a lot of the details along with us. And then the concierge part is not only the accompanied showings, but many of our luxury clients have second homes, third homes, travel. We need to learn how to turn on their Crestron or their Savant and engineer the entire showing with waterfalls and lights and mood lighting and offer drinks. We have 2 candles that we bring that we light. One is more for the kitchen, one's more for the master bath, and it just brings in that nice smell of ambiance. And it's those just intentional things that makes the buyer feel that we've planned on their occurrence to come and look at the home. And many times, Seychelle, we'll get calls from the buyers when they go to sell the home that they bought that was our listing. They remembered our services. They remembered us. And now they want us to list it because they want that kind of service when they sell.
To me, you're making such an incredible experience on the home because when you walk into a luxury home and the lights aren't on and the music isn't on and the audio visual isn't going and the fountains aren't going, it feels like a house, right?
Yeah.
What I hear that you're doing is you're truly entertaining the buyer in their home and making it feel like, wow, this is how you would live in the house. This is how you would entertain. I don't think there are many people in the country that are doing it at that level, Diane. That's exceptional. It's really neat.
Important. It's we make more money, of course, with these luxury homes, and shouldn't it be special? I mean, shouldn't we treat it differently? I think so. Shouldn't we ask the seller, wow, what do you love about this home? Why did you build this? And tell us, where are your favorite places, or why did you buy this home versus all the other choices you had? And if you can get into they love telling their passion, and then we can tell that to a future buyer, and that story goes on, usually with the next buyer, and they're going to understand the home in a lot more complex level. And we don't see other agents giving that level of service at all either.
Absolutely. And, the other question that I have for you is, what sort of a budget do you look at then for an experience like this, for marketing a luxury listing? Like, what does that look like from a budgetary standpoint for you to be able to do this on scale?
Well, for our $1 to $2 million listings, we actually don't spend that much more money. We might spend another $500 to $1,000 on additional aerials and/or the Matterport. I do on the camera, and we do a Matterport so you can walk through the homes. We don't spend a lot more money up front. We'll spend more money on maybe a paper ad, and I don't do a lot of paper, but occasionally we'll do a paper ad and a glossy magazine. Of course, the domain, it's in there. But when it gets up to the $3 million and above, that's when I spend a lot more money, maybe $5,000 to $10,000. I did spend $15,000 on one that we sold for $6 million, and it sold. And I know it worked. That's where we did the production movie with the production studio out of Nashville, Tennessee. I came in and did the whole thing, but it was kind of risky, of course. I had a seller that wanted to split the cost with me and go in on it and knew they had a unique home. I had a really great experience, of course, with them, and within 5 months we had it sold. Sometimes you have to make those business decisions, but I'll tell you honestly, I make those business decisions so I have that work that I can go show another uber luxury seller that here's how we do this. And maybe that home didn't sell, right? Maybe it didn't sell, but you can show what you do and what you can do for them. And again, no one else is doing it. And it might have cost you quite a bit more money, but that's part of your marketing to have that for the next time.
So you're using this, like, we talked about how you start with just one luxury listing. For someone that may not be in luxury that's on the webinar today, you're really you're viewing this as not only for the client, but also building your portfolio of marketing to be able to have a shelf life beyond what you would have with just this one listing.
I still remember my first million listing, and I remember Bruce and I, my husband and I, talked about, well, let's just see what everyone else looks like in this luxury market at $1 million. So we gathered the other 3 agents at the time that were doing those price homes, and they were just their brochure looked like it was a $200,000 home, and it almost seemed so simple. Well, why don't we just up that a few notches, right? And so we went in, or I went in, and you know what? Had a lot more energy, very excited, very passionate, and I wanted the business. And that was my very first listing. His name was Jack, and I asked him, would you please trust me and let me do your listing? If I'm not successful, and if I don't do everything I say I'm going to do, then you don't need to keep me. But I was so passionate about wanting that first one, and I give him credit still today that because of Jack, I had my first $1 million listing. So, and we sold it, but I did spend more money on that than I had. You have to start somewhere.
I can understand. One, I like too on some of the higher end marketing that you've done, the idea of having the seller split the cost too. I think is a great idea as well if you're needing that investment coming in on your first couple of luxury. Another question.
Frankly, some of them may not sell.
Yeah.
Some of them may not sell. Some of those, the sellers are aware that it's going to be very difficult. And I think all of you may be surprised that they may share in those costs with you. It's because they know they've got an anomaly. I talk to a lot of luxury agents that call me and what do I do? I'm in a hometown of $500,000, it's our highest price, and now I've got a $3 million home that wants me to come list their home, but I know it's going to be years before it'll sell. That's when you talk down and sit down with the seller and ask them to share in the cost, and would you also, because I want to do my best, but we know this is going to be teamwork together and some time to get it sold.
Absolutely. No, I think that's great. Another question that we had come in as well is, when you're getting referrals in on a luxury listing, what is a typical referral fee that is typically paid out on something like that? Is it still normally a 25%? What do you guys see?
Yeah, I'm still paying 25%.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yep.
So if someone's got a contact and they're referring you a luxury listing down there, it would work very similarly as any other listing would. A question for you that we talked about earlier was having your son join you on the team. I'd love for us to expand a little bit on that, on working with family and what that experience has been like for you as you've been growing out your team. Can you share a little bit about that?
Yes, I sure will. I'll also share 2016 was a huge year for me with a lot of change on my team, with almost everyone leaving. And not at the same time, but I had 3 agents leave about a month and a half after my son Parker joined me, or it was 2 months after. So blindsided, yes. Betrayed feeling, absolutely. And did I follow my intuition over the past couple of years that my heart was talking to me? I did not. So when Parker came, he came at such a time where everything was changing. Our market was down. We decided, let's just take this downtime and reevaluate all these systems that I've been building for 18 years. We're going to start with a new slate. Let's interview. Let's take. We don't shortchange our interviews. We go through the KPA. We get the life story, and it's a long process. And sometimes people don't join us because they can't take the long process. But Parker, it is. Parker has such a skill set. He and I have a very similar ABA and DISC and KPA, I guess now. But he is so good. I feel like he's more than a mini me because he's more skilled at running the operations side and maybe more patience than I want in my career right now. So a huge asset to have Parker on the team and helping build it. He's hired 4 new agents. We've got a VA starting that will be starting in the next couple of weeks. So he's in charge of holding them accountable and also hiring new agents and really setting up our entire ISA office. We had it in the past and frankly didn't have the right people there either.
And so, I mean, I'm looking at your numbers. You have your production up on the screen. So, Diane, you went through an entire team overhaul in 2016. Your market was down. Your heart was telling you that there may be changes coming, but you had no idea it was going to be the level of what you went through. And yet, even still with all of that, you persevered in selling over 100 homes. Not only that, but your GCI was up from where it was at the bottom in 2014, moving in the right direction. And you can tell your average commission was up as well because you sold, instead of $93 million, you sold $76 million, but your gross commissions earned was up. So your average percentage was up as well.
Right.
Parker studied with Tim Heil, who's an awesome agent out of Austin. What habits or systems has he come in and put in on the team that might be different from what you had before?
Oh, that's excellent. Because we both have coaches. I coach with Monica Reynolds, and Parker coaches with Abe Shreve.
Awesome.
And our coaches are different, right? Parker and Abe have created an amazing accountability that I'm not used to, and with charts and systems and numbers and big goals. Every week reviewing the goals and every week seeing, how many appointments, how far behind are we, how far ahead are we, and the trajectory of where we are month to month from, years over with our multi-year trends and things. He brings so much to the table that I honestly, I don't know if I have the skill set probably for that. That's not me. I want to continue with my luxury, and that's where I'm best suited. And so it makes a great fit for us.
That's fantastic. And, one question Brian White has on our call is he says, I'm really curious about your profit. Has your profit continued to scale as your team is expanding? What does that look like over the last several years?
Okay, so the 3 agents that came into my office at 8 a.m. on August 1st with a piece of paper saying we resign right now.
Wow.
they all made $200,000 over the past 3 years. And as of July 1st, all of them were at 100,000 plus of 2016. So what I learned is if they were already in their mind, because they had already created their own company when they met with me August 1st, had it all ready for Facebook 30 minutes later.
Wow.
So they were probably checked out by what? Would you guess April or May, I guess?
April,
at least. So they weren't working. They weren't doing, I don't think, much for the team, and definitely not bringing anything new in. What I learned is I was only doing listings. I thought it was gracious for me to just give my buyer leads to our buyer agents because A, I didn't have the time, but B, I want to feed them. Oh, they have families, and I'm telling you, my profits have gone up tremendously, like 30% since they've been gone, because I'm working luxury buyers now. I get the honor to be able to be with my clients instead of handing off $1 million or $2 million client. And that just completely changed my P&L.
Wow.
So I have a different mindset, totally different mindset on that.
In hindsight, it's the best thing that ever could have happened to you, but an extremely painful thing.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, I took a lot of prayer, and I've gotten into a lot of yoga and quiet time. But I also had to look within me. I'm like, okay, what have I done, and what do I need to change? Certainly, I have some DNA, I'm sure, in it. So I guess you learn and you grow, and it's been phenomenal. And I have a great feeling about our future.
You just gave me goosebumps, because what I'm not hearing is a victim mentality from you. What I'm hearing is you being willing to say, that stunk. There's part of this that definitely was them, but there's also part that I need to look at inward and figure out how I become a better leader, or how I run my business better to where I don't have this happen again. And that is just one of the many things I admire about you, Diane. I think that is so incredible for you as a leader to look at that and figure out how you can continue to grow your people moving forward. That's awesome.
Oh,
thank you for sharing that.
You're welcome. If you have one person, if you have an office of 3 or an office of 20, if you have one person that has that victim mentality, or that is gossipy or negative, you've got to get rid of them now. Do not wait. It doesn't matter if they've gone through some personal trauma at home or finances, because that's what I did. I would keep people because of all these personal reasons. All it did was bring me down. And so that's my biggest lesson, is to follow your intuition. And you can't handhold someone that has a personality trait that you can't change. So there's an amazing amount of great people out there that want to come work on your team.
Wow. Thank you for sharing that. I think there's probably some people on the call today that really needed to hear that. So thank you.
No.
I have a couple of technical questions for you that came in that I want to make sure we hit. We've got about 5 more minutes on the call. One that Renee Burchell had that I thought was great. She said, do you have marketing that you present to your listing luxury prospects with different levels of marketing choices? Like, are you giving a menu of items for them to choose from, or a tiered commission, or is it based on price point of what you offer? And if so, would you be willing to share that with them maybe after the call?
Yes, I'd be happy to share my, I have 2 packages that I have. One is for more of our everyday, and one we call Uber Lux. Uber Lux really, and if you go to our website, Uberlux, Luxe, sales.com, Uberlux with an E, sales.com, you'll see some of our luxury homes, but it's also under the kinkteam.com. You'll see Uberlux. With Uberlux, we have a completely different marketing package. I'll be happy to share. I don't get into the tiered commission, and I don't give any of that in writing, of course. When I meet with them, should it come up because of a multi-million-dollar listing, I'll be open to communicate about that. And certainly I would do that, and I would put it with a time zone of timing, because the longer you own the listing, the more the expectation is that you'll have to spend on it. So you got to be careful not to drop it quickly, because of at least in my market, long days on market in luxury.
Got it. That makes perfect sense. And then now that you've gone through with your team, the other question Renee had for you was, do you guys do any sort of a confidentiality agreement with your team, whether it's information about clients or non-competes or confidentiality agreements inside the team?
Yeah, with our agents, it's part of our contract. We have a confidentiality addressed in the contract, and then we have a non-compete as well for 2 years after they leave the team. And with the staff, I don't have a written confidentiality agreement, and I should. It's a great idea. I have to talk with. I really should. I have to talk with everybody, including our runners. Our high school runners. I tell them that you're going to hear private information, and it cannot go outside these 4 walls. So, great idea, Renee, to do that with staff as well.
Awesome. I've got that down. I put that in the chat as well, so you have the details on that. That's awesome. And
perfect.
So we've dug into a lot on your business today, and you've done a fantastic job of being so vulnerable and willing to share with us. Is there anything that we didn't hit that you want to make sure that we cover today?
I guess just if you go through a time like I have, and you've seen some success, or you're working towards success, you as a leader just have to stay positive. Find any way to stay positive and to walk in those doors like it's a new day, and try to always be the upbeat person and be the leader, because they'll feed off of you. So that's probably the biggest thing I've learned. And then as far as luxury and building it, go buy one if you have to, and get one under your belt, and then just market that listing and become like the specialist. And before you know it, you'll be known as a luxury agent. You need to join KW Luxury and get on as many luxury boards that you can, and learn and study it across the globe, what other agents are doing in luxury to be different in your marketplace.
That's fantastic. Diane, thank you so much for your time today. We are so appreciative that our whole region had the opportunity to hear you today. I have Diane's contact information up on the screen. If you want to reach her, you can email her at dianekink@thekinkteam.com, or you can reach her at 281-364-4828. Thank you. I think we all learned a lot from you on how we can take our businesses to the next level. And up next, for next month, we will have our Millionaire Mindset call on April 6th at 11 a.m. And our special guest will be Team Builder. It's going to be special guest Paul Hume, and he and his dad run the top builder representative team in Keller Williams in the country. I believe they were in the top 3 for the entire United States. So we are going to go take this information and apply it to our luxury businesses, and we can't thank you enough for your time today, Diane. Thank you. If you have referrals,
you're welcome.
In the Woodlands.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you guys so much.